Well, the other day when I was sitting in a cafe with my girlfriend, she mentioned something that I'd never heard of before, and that is that apparently older people exude an odour. And I did Google that, and there is a name for it, which I haven't got off the top of my head. But apparently it's to do with the all the skin layers breaking down, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that really cracked me up. But then underneath, silently, I had this feeling of guilt because I know a couple of times, and you will also know that this is a fact, that as we age, and for men and women, our bladder muscles get less tight, let's say, less tight. And there's incontinence and there's stress incontinence, so that, sometimes if we're just having a sneeze, or if we're coughing, or for those that want to go for a jog or something like that, the bladder leaks. And so there have been times in the past that I've had that situation where I've thought, oh dear, and so then you feel really embarrassed, even though nobody's aware that that's happened. You feel embarrassed. I mean, when I was a little child, my teacher in grade 3 wouldn't let me go to the toilet, and so I peed my pants. And for me to say this now is a huge, huge thing, because up until a couple of years ago, I had never ever told anybody that. And so I think I've got this deep-seated guilt about that. And also, I know that a lot of the ladies I'm in contact with, they all say the same thing. And because I worked in aged care for about 16 years, I'm also very aware that this happens to men as well. And as we get older, I don't know, perhaps we drink less water. I try to drink at least 1.5 litres a day. But, we're just coming into winter now, and you feel less like drinking water. So consequently, our urine gets stronger, and this happens a lot with elderly people, that they're drinking tea and coffee, but their intake of water, actual just plain water, becomes less. So when I was sitting with my girlfriend, I did have this pang of guilt, and I thought, oh, what if I've ever had an odour, I know before I go out anywhere, I dab a few little spots of rose oil around just behind my ears. I quite like to have a little bit of a scent on me. But, to be quite honest, it's a very personal thing. It's something, as a young person, you would never think about. You would never think, oh, one day my bladder's going to leak and I won't have any control over it. So, anyway, hi there, and I'm Kay, and I'm just starting conversations about what happens to us when we get older. So I hope you're having a good day wherever you are. In the south-west of Western Australia, we're just coming into winter now. So I'm sitting in the back of my property, and there's some beautiful sun filtering down through the tall trees, and all the birds are out today. So I thought I'd pop out and before the rain comes and have a little chat. So yeah, as far as stress incontinence goes, it does happen. And I was taught how to do all the pelvic floor exercises, but how many of us do that every day? Um, they actually do work. If you have a repetition of drawing up those bladder muscles, they do tighten over time. And you know, bless all those women who do that on a regular basis, because many of us do it for a couple of weeks and we think, yeah, this is going really great. And then after a couple of weeks we might do it once a week and then once a fortnight. And yeah, so that's something that's I was really aware of when my girlfriend said that. um, I'm not really very good at talking into the camera. I'm hoping that I'll get better. But I'm just me. This is me just having a chat with you. And yeah, so as far as leaky bladder goes, there are a lot of things that can be done. In today's society, there's so many options for people who have some type level of incontinence in their bladder. You can have a little pad in your underwear. You can actually buy the underwear that has the padding sewn into the seams, which is really great. I think probably another thing also is that I know a lot of ladies have said this to me, and that is that they always go to the toilet, before they leave the house. If they're going to a coffee shop or a supermarket, they'll, find out where the public toilets are, so that just in case. Yeah, and I guess too, another thing is that because the bladder muscles get weaker, if our bladder's full, sometimes we don't actually feel that urge to relieve that feeling of, I don't know, urgency becomes weaker, let's say. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's just one more little step we have to cross, I guess. Another little hill we have to scale to get whatever it is we need to be more comfortable when we go out and about, so that we don't end up with that odor in our underwear, and to be aware that we can do the exercises. Says me. I'm a great one to tell people, aren't I? So